RC Underground Radio is your go-to podcast for everything RC.
Do you guys realize how much it costs to be friends with this dude?
Whether you're a dedicated racer or just getting started in the hobby, this is your show. Each episode features top-notch guests, industry leaders, and you, the racer.
Yeah.
It's a community where listeners can learn, connect, and grow their passion for RC racing. So, grab your transmitter, buckle up, and join us on RC Underground Radio.
Say words.
Here are your hosts, Dave Brinkman and TJ Greer.
It is time. It is holiday time for another adventure of RC Underground Radio. And this is when things really start getting good. We are getting ready. People are starting to get ready for RC Chili Bowl. So it's our favorite time of the year to talk about RC racing. And we get nobody better, and we're lucky, our co-host here every week. But right now, the focus is going to be on RC Chili Bowl with the one and the only TJ Greer. TJ, thanks for joining.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited. We get to talk the big race, talk game plan, strategy, what I did before years past, what my game plan is this year going into it. We could talk other things, other questions. We got some questions from other racers that want to have some answers or get some answers. So I figured I'll pull those up as well. So
cool.
We'll touch base with all of it.
Yeah. So when we're starting out and it's Chili Bowl, it's all about having experience. So can you remember back your first Chili Bowl?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Super green. Didn't know what to expect. Was just super excited really to get out there. And, I was excited to go out there and do, my first big race. Obviously there's, I've been a part of other big races before, but this is the national level. So it's different, it's basically the dirt oval mecca, and it's for us toy car nerds, and we get to enjoy every part of it. But my game plan going into it was, not really any expectations. And that's probably really, really bad to say. I guess I just didn't really know what to expect. Everybody talks about their experiences, and, everyone's probably a little bit different, more prep for some, and some are green behind the ears, never done it before, don't know what to expect, But I went in with a good mentality of, open mind, willingness to change, a lot of downtime. So finding ways to complete your downtime or fill it, but yeah, I had a good time. I think I didn't leave disappointed by any means my first year. I think I left with okay, I learned a lot. I had some takeaways, had a couple wins here and there, if that were, hey, is my lap time comparable? What was my consistency? I think I quit looking for lap times and started looking at consistency. Am I running good lines? Am I running a good race? Am I being respectful? Driving people the way that I want to be driven. Yeah, it was a good time. And then my second year was a change in mentality. Was okay, I'm going to set a bar. And that's kind of, everybody wants to go in and have some racer's luck and win a Chili Bowl or win a feature and do all the above. I set a goal in SE Mod to be top 20, and that I did it, and I was, think 16th, maybe 17th seeded overall, which isn't horrible,
Nice. No,
top 20 is where I wanted to be. Exactly where I wanted to be. So that was already a win, and then I was in the B main, and going for a good transfer position. The car felt great. McNatt put a little bit of wrenching love into it, tightened up the car for me. So I had really good, forward drive coming out, and I felt good in the car until somebody got into me in the rear end and chunked a spur gear. So it happens, ruined my race. It is what it is. I was mad. I was really mad because I felt like I was going to go not only for a transfer position, but I was actually going to go and make a move within the next 2 laps for the lead. I saw opportunity twice and going into 1 and 2, and I was like, this is where I'm going to make my move, so kind of looking forward ahead to where I can do it in a manner that was going to make sense and not, risk it. Because all I want to do is transfer to the main. That was it. So, but it happens. So
for sure. So how many times have you gone to Chili Bowl?
This will be my third year, I think.
Okay.
So I went 3 years in a row. So this will be a little bit different. The first year I ran 2 classes, and I think I didn't. I only ran. I wanted to run 2 because I wanted to run a class that I really truly enjoyed, and then one to kind of fill the space. SE mod's really what I probably drive the best. So then year 2, I was like, I'm going to run 3 classes. I'm going to run a 110 late model. I'm going to run a wing sprint, and then the SE mod. Well, now they took SE mod out this year. I'm just going to run late model and sprint.
Okay.
So I'll have a little bit more time on my hands.
Well, that makes all the RCU fans happy because, I know you got some ideas planned. We've been testing some stuff behind the scenes. We're not going to give any plans yet because racing is going to be the main focus for TJ. But like you said, there might be a little downtime here and there. And if there is, you give a microphone to TJ Greer, who knows what you're going to come up with. So
I've got some stuff in the works. But yeah, so like going into year 2 was a little bit different, obviously setting goals for myself. But I had a year under my belt, so I knew what to expect, But
let me ask you this though, TJ, even though you knew what to expect, what would you have done different from having no experience and then 1 year's experience? What was on the paper? What was on the checklist of, okay, these are things I have to do better next time? Not even to the car. I mean, just in general, like what you're going to talk about tonight, like being prepared. Boy, I wish I did this different. Boy, now that I'm going to do this, it's going to make life more fun and easier.
So I had more of a game plan.
Okay.
It was, I utilized practice better. I worked on things that didn't make sense. So, cars that weren't working for me on year 2, we took them home. If I didn't have, a real satisfying run or 2 or a good practice, I didn't feel comfortable. Obviously the car's not working, so I'm going to have to throw the kitchen sink at it. I didn't do a very good job year 1 of taking the cars back and working on them. Didn't really have the space. We stayed in a hotel. It was me and Tori Snow. I'm sorry. Yeah, me, Tori Snow, and Jerry Waggle was first year. And I didn't do a very good job of taking the cars back and wrenching. I thought because I had all day, I can work on them. I mean, time gets away from you. You're limited on practice. You don't get a ton of track time. If you're trying to put 3 cars on the track, and you do a solid run, like that car sets to the side.
Right.
It's not like you can go and set the car down. You're back on the track in 5 minutes. You're going to wait in line for an hour and a half.
Right.
Or 45 minutes to run a minute and a half.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, I went in with a different game plan. So it was more about, okay, the car's not working. I'm going to duly take notes on what didn't work, what the car was doing. And then I'm going to research and work on it at the house. So year 2, I got a house. We had more space. Tori and I would take cars back to the house. We would flip it. We would completely do shock rebuilds. We would change, everything. We would change weight. We would scale the cars, change shock ride heights, everything. We took a car and completely flipped it upside down. And I was like, this car is going to win it now. This is going to be a car that can allow me to drive on these conditions.
Nice. So when you're working on a car at the track, or the car is doing certain things at the track, what's some key things? Do you take notes? Do you keep track of like what you're going to go work on at the house later tonight? Or do you just kind of know it? You just keep it in your head?
So what I'll do is, we all have sweet technology that we can utilize, right? I was the type of guy that would type a note out and say, run 1 with the late model. Car was super loose on exit, but had good forward drive. Where was I at with rear steer? Was I maxed out? Was I 2 degrees? Did I need to go a half degree? Did I need to go 1 degree or even on the right rear? And then it was just, how did it feel overall driving? How did it feel on the straightaways? Was the corner entry good? Did I feel like I was losing Was I too soft in the rear? Like I just overall just spoke about what the car was doing in notes, and it would quickly turn around because if you're standing in line, I could type those notes out.
Good. Yep.
So
Good
it's
point.
unused time. While as much as everybody was, when we're standing in line to get these practices, and Scotty's over there talking about the race and talking about the sponsors, and everybody's in line talking about where they're from and where. It's not that I don't want to be sociable. It wasn't that. I mean, I talked a ton, but I would take those notes as I'm standing there, about the car that didn't work that I just ran, and then I'm taking the next car to go out there and see what it does, so then when it's done and I grab the next one to get back in line for that next practice, I'm taking those notes. If I had time to wrench between those practices, I'd make a quick change and go right back out. But taking notes and then applying those later on. So like with Tori, I would tell him, hey man, like this is what the car's doing. I know he's trying to run too. So we would like put our heads together and he was like, let's change your ride heights. I want to change all that, shock positions, everything. And we would throw all these different things at it, camber link change, everything. And the car would be better. And the cars that I didn't work on the day before that were good were now crap because the track changed.
That's right.
So we're trying to chase what we're going to get to, and we were getting better at it. I mean, Tori's cars were lightning fast year 2. I mean, they were good. I mean, his 110 late model was money. I mean, it was lightning fast, but for some reason, the glue Tori did, he would blow off the right rear or the left rear and the inside. And I think it might have just been the wheels.
Okay.
The specific wheels. I'm not going to name any brands. I'm not going to bash any brands because I value that brand specifically, but I don't value those wheels. And I think we talked about why, and it made sense once we discussed it. So, but it took us, him gluing more sets on the same wheels to be like, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But yeah, so taking notes and applying those notes and being willing to change, because listen, if your car isn't working now, doesn't mean it's not going to continue to work for you. Either you're going to throw the kitchen sink at it and it's not going to be good still, or you're going to get a little bit lucky and you're going to have a car that you can finally wheel. Ask for support. Team drivers are out there for you guys to get whatever questions you need. I mean, but know the room. If you see that driver that you want to talk to's thrashing on his car and his pit area is a mess and he's wrenching and he's going to town, probably not the time or place. But
right.
If you could take that 30 seconds while he's standing in line waiting and not doing anything, that might be the time. You just got to know the room.
I think you mentioned that you got some questions that were asked. So what do we got there?
So let's pull it up real quick. So the first one was Jeff Carpoletti. Let's talk about chili or any food that's spicy. So ironically enough, there's no chili involved in Chili Bowl. None. That's something that was actually in my notes to talk about was food prep and what to expect and what are you going to do. So obviously we get there early. Everybody's there 1:00 in the morning, waiting in line to load in. Have food with you in the car. Some people like to bring coolers. Some people like to bring fridges that they can plug in. Obviously, a mini fridge wouldn't be a bad idea. You can go get your sodas, your waters, whatever you need, put it in there, and then salads, cold drinks, whatever you need. You can have it there ready to go. Or you can buy a $9 cheeseburger from their vendor there and you get what you get, Is it going to be worth the $9? Probably not, But DoorDash, do Uber Eats. We've done it a couple times. I'll tell you, there's a couple good restaurants around there. I don't recommend Whataburger because I don't think it's that great. Maybe I'm just biased, but whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But there's plenty of fast food places you can DoorDash, and they're pretty quick. Just be patient, try and figure out the right time you can do it. Get all your friends to do it. Maybe you buy one day, they do it the next. Who knows? And then the same thing for breakfast. If you're staying in a hotel, wake up early enough to go get that breakfast. It's free. You paid for it. You know what I mean? We're in a house again this year, so no breakfast for us. So we'll get something on the way. But chili's not involved. Ironically enough, there's no crock pots going around. Now there are people that bring little griddles and cook while they're there. So the ambiance of bacon does make its way through the tire sauce and smog, but I'm not cooking while I'm there.
All right.
So, Jeff, no chili. Shane Wheeler. That's my best Scotty Ernst impression. I don't know if I did it well, but you're going to hear that name a lot. So, said make a list. 1, what goals do you want to achieve? 100% on board. Make a goal. I mean, make it realistic. Obviously, you're going to say, I want to win a feature. I want to win the A-Main and Chili Bowl. I got it. 90% of us are going to be disappointed in that, but be a realist. Make a goal. And then he said, get your car set up that you are comfortable with, that make changes as you need. So then basically he's 100% on a point that I'm going to talk about later on when I go through some of my talking points. But yeah, make a car on your baseline setup that you know is decent, that you have a baseline. You say, I know where to go from here. Right? So if you put the car on the track and the car's loose, you know how to change it. Obviously, if you're not the type of person that probably can't do that, then I would get a pit buddy that knows what to do for you, because you're going to need that, right? Anytime you're on that stand and you bring that car in, you got to have somebody else down there to help you out. So phone a friend, let them know, partner with them, figure out what that takes, but you're going to need a pit buddy and someone that understands what you need. So that's something else we'll talk about too. Tires. He said, try to have 90% of tires prepped bag before you load in. 100% true. If you're gluing tires while you're at Chili Bowl, you're already behind. Now, you run out of tires and you're the type of wheeler that needs to run a new set every time because that's what your program needs, by all means, go for it. If that's what it needs, go for it. But he's right. Have your tires done and prep beforehand. Have fun meeting peeps and learning all you can, no matter what skill level. So all of us are always learning, I got to hang out with Grant Riles last weekend. We were talking about, prep for Chili Bowl this year. We're both doing the same thing. We're a little behind the 8 ball because who isn't, but we're just talking about the prep about the week before, because every year we come into Chili Bowl, it's a fresh track for the year. Well, what we're not thinking about is the fact that they're having a week-long SC Mod shootout basically beforehand. And they're not breaking up the track like they do for us throughout the day. So they're going to break it up at the end of the day, and that's it. And it's start on fresh, and then from what I understand, they'll continue to race until Chili Bowl week. So the track's going to be different. It may be grooved up, so it may require a different tire. Just food for thought.
So, again, a newbie to all this, are you saying it's going to be more compacted? Like the dirt will be more compacted?
I think it's going to groove up, but it'll do exactly what it did last year in the mains. You don't have a lot of room to pass. Your groove is a lot smaller because you have the same 10, 12 cars running the same groove for the most part. So at the end of the day, it's racy, but it's not passable at times. Okay. And so it happened. Grant Riles he talked about it. We talked about it last weekend. The line that he had was the same line that somebody else was using, and he kind of got dumped, and it is what it is. It happens, but when you're racing on a track like that where you got to have, a missed opportunity to pass somebody, that's really all you can do. Because, it's either you're going to dump them and take it, or you're going to drive through them and get lucky, or you're going to take them out and you're going out too. So it'll be dusty, I think. So we'll see. It'll be different. Obviously, going the last couple of years and kind of knowing what the track has done and went to was good for me and good for everybody else. I think it'll be a little bit of a wrench in the game plan for some, because I think we're forgetting the week prior is something else going on the same dirt. Aaron Mull said, when you get to the track and start adjusting, do you have a normal list of things you start with and go from there, such as rear steer, tires, gearing, camber, wing placement, ride height, spring rates, roll centers? Just trying to find out if there's an order of operations for tuning the oval cars.
Great question.
Papa Willie's Traction Tonic has been curing poor traction since 2016. The name says it all. If you're not popping wheelies, it's not Papa Willie's. Papa Willie's has become known across the United States on dirt, oval to off-road, asphalt to concrete, carpet to hardwood, and so many other surfaces. Papa Willie's continues adding to their lineup with tonics for cold and hot weather. Loose dirt to high traction, dry dirt, wet dirt, clay and abrasive surfaces, along with anti-drag bearing oil, tire cleaner, tire glue, pit accessories, and swag. You can find the complete Papa Willie's catalog at www.papawillies.net. Prepare for victory with Papa Willie's Traction Tonic.
Be sure to use promo code RCUR for 10% off your next purchase at Papa Willie's.
Folks, are you looking to have half of the enthusiasm Hunter Carey has up on the driver's stand? Or are you looking to look like me walking around the pits in my cool RC Underground Radio merch? Well, listen. I'm sorry to say that Carpies can't work miracles in those departments. But there's good news. The folks at Carpies can definitely help you become the ultimate toy car nerd. How do you ask? With their custom wraps and a killer collection of official RC branded merch. So while they can't promise to shave a 10th off your lap time, they can save you 10% on your next order with promo code RCU10 upon checkout at carpies.com. That's CARPYS.com.
So really good question. So Jeremy Riley kind of always taught me he never really changed gearing ever in his car, which I thought was crazy. Well, I'm kind of right there with him. I haven't really changed gearing in my cars in like a year. I kind of run the same thing. I don't really change it like ever. So maybe just change the motor if you needed to. But on a track like that, 7.0 is probably going to work. You know, you could probably, the bigger cars, the SE mod cars will probably run a 5.0 and be fine because that's what they need. But when I start, and it's going to be different for every program, it's what the car's telling you it needs. You know, you can take rear steer out if it's too snappy. You know, if you're coming out of it, a lot of times we played with negative expo last year on the throttle a ton coming out because the car was good, but for some reason it would snap on the throttle. So then we were playing with negative expo, and I was like, don't care about the number, just go negative. But knowing your what controls you can do that are going to change your car, you can do them from your controller that you may not need to change the car at all. You know, if the rear steer is perfect through the corner and everything's great until you come out, maybe it's just too much motor coming out. So soften it on your initial throttle and see where that goes. And we did that a ton, and it was awesome. Tires, you're going to know right off the bat when you put that car on the track, whether you're going to be on blue sprinters, you're going to be on greens, you're going to be on aquas, or you're going to do a stagger set. What your driving style is going to tell you right off the bat what you need. So if you put the car out there and it's not in the track and you're floating and you feel like you're ballooning your tires, your motor's either too big or you're running too soft of tires. You know, so you just got to know what that means. Ride heights, I mean, it's going to be loose dirt. So however you would drive loose dirt, put that setup in it. Spring rates, pretty soft. Roll centers, same thing. Scale your car. But order of operation, like you can change a turn in the right rear and soften it, and it can get over in the right rear. And there's just so much you can do. You just need to know what your car needs. So again, I wouldn't say build a new car and throw it on the track for Chili Bowl ever. Like, unless you're some phenom god that can get away with doing it and you know exactly what it needs, go for it. But I wouldn't tell your average racer to go and build a brand new car and come out to Chili Bowl and drop it on the track and untested. Probably not going to work. James Rodriguez, my old teammate. Let's talk about want not to suck. So, want not to suck. You know, drive others the way that you want to be driven. I was racing him. I think we had the same heat. There was one time I think I took the outside on him and he kind of came up. I think we might have touched it. I think there's actually a video. We could play it. There's a video. I went to the outside and I think he kind of gave me a little love nudge and it kind of knocked him down a little bit, but I kept going. I was on the outside of him. I didn't do it on the inside. So, but yeah, want not to suck, you know, for him. And I think what he's just trying to say is drive others the way you want to be driven. Mm-hmm. I get there's no money on the line. This is all bragging rights for a trophy. but drive others the way you want to be driven. And obviously there's an invite this year. So the invitational class is the ones that, you probably want to go watch, because once again, those are the pro drivers that are setting the tone, who have won a Chili Bowl, or they've been to the multiple features. They've won multiple Chili Bowls. So you can learn a lot from them. You can see how they race, see how they race others. But ultimately, they're going to essentially set the tone for those who should probably learn. Not saying you can't learn from the other classes, because you can. There's some really good drivers out there that haven't won a Chili Bowl, but maybe they don't drive others the way they want to be driven. Just have some bad racers luck. Who knows? It's really all the questions I had. We can go through some of the game plan.
Yeah, let's talk about what you have on your list. That's what I'm sure everybody's tuning in for. How TJ's going to attack this.
So ultimately, you need to have a game plan from beginning to end, and be willing to change. So pit setup is my first thing. Know your pit. Know where your parts are. Know your pit. Know your parts. Be absolutely organized. Take your parts trays, whatever you've got. Organize them. Be organized. Know what's in them. Know what's where. Know what you're going to need. If your car is already breaking before you come to Chili Bowl, fix it, because it's probably going to break while you're there. Take only what you would need for those cars that week. So yes, while it would be nice to say, hey, I'm going to bring all my Prodigy stuff, I'm not running SE Mod. Not even going to bring tires. There's no point. I'm not going to bring any parts for them. Mm-hmm. Now, some of the parts we do use, they're interchangeable between the three cars that I run, but for the most part, no SE Mod parts are going. Don't build a new car and throw it down. Take only trusted cars. So you're running 2 classes. I'm taking 4 cars. They're both trusted cars. I both know how they run. I have an idea what I'm going to run first, and it's probably going to be my 24s, just because I'm most comfortable in those cars right now. Don't recommend building a car and throwing it on the track at Chili Bowl. Probably not good for you or the other races around you. Pit partner, know what you're going to ask for, and effective communication. So have a game plan of, hey, this car I have a feeling is going to be super loose out. So when I bring it in, I've only got a minute 30. I'm going to bring it in. I want you to put 3 turns in the left rear. We need to tighten it up quickly. Or if I tell you to take out rear steer, we're going to go right rear only, leave the left rear alone. But you got to have a game plan, and I wouldn't go down there screaming at him, hey, it's loose out, fix it. Maybe that's how people operate, but I would just preface it. Like, I think this car is going to be loose out. I could be wrong. If it's not, then we just need to tighten it up or, soften it, whatever you got to do. But you got to have an effective game plan and have a pit partner. So if you don't have one, find one, ask around. Sometimes it's not that easy, because maybe you're racing in the same heat as somebody that's going to be pitting with you or next to you. So luck of the draw, but you got to kind of have to have that game plan. Maintenance. Take your cars home and wrench on them. Look it over while enjoying your team's company. So a lot of people are going to try and go and say, hey, I want to spend my downtime and go to the actual Chili Bowl. Hey, man, if your program allows you to do that, go for it. Something breaks, I'm going to look at you and say, you probably should have spent your time wrenching on your car, because I would hate to spend all this time and money coming here to race at the national level of what you're going to and just not have a good time because you broke within the first 30 seconds. That happened my first year. 2 of my cars broke before they ever even got a pit lane on my seating round. I didn't seat well because of it. Things happen. But take your cars home, work on them. If they're not working on the track, don't let them sit there overnight. Go home and work on them. That's why you're there, right? I want you to be better so we can have a better race together. That's all I want. Utilize your downtime effectively. Good time to ask questions from team drivers. Watch team drivers drive their cars. Seth Izzard did this, man. The first time I've ever talked to that dude, I'm standing over in turn. It'd be 3 and 4. I'm standing in 3 and 4, and he's standing there. I think he was watching Chad Jones. So he's watching Chad Jones in his late model, and I hate to call him out, but it was funny because I'm like, how's this dude think he's driving when he's not on the stand? But he's watching these cars go by, and he's like doing his own throttle control and like turning the wheel. And I looked at him and I said, hey, man, I see what you're doing. Nobody probably notices it, but I see. And he kind of laughed and was like, hey, man, you're if you want to get good. And I said, no, hey, respect. I totally see what you're doing, and I got mad respect for you. I get what you're doing. He's like, there's a reason why their car is fast. Maybe I can mimic their line. You know what I mean? Like,
muscle memory.
Absolutely. So, watch the team drivers drive their car. Know the environment. If they're thrashing and wrenching, might not be the best time to ask, but more than likely they will take time just to give you advice. Take the time to find them in that line. If they're waiting and they're not doing anything, maybe take that 30 seconds and say, hey, man, do me a favor. Can you look this over? My car's doing this. What would you do? And they may throw some harebrained idea you never think about, but it could work. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So they're willing to try these unorthodox things, or your average racer is probably not going to. So know the environment, ask questions. They're there for a reason. All the vendors are there to give you the best product support you'll get in any other race. Setup, tires, adjustments. Tire prep starts before you leave for Chili Bowl. So you can't see it, but I've got 10 sets of used sprinters right here that I will be taking that are all in different facets of conditions. And it's purposely done. Some are 50%, some are 75%, some are brand new. Some are bald right fronts because that's what I like to run. But they're set up because that's what I want to run. And I know that I'm going to have that gamut. So if something works, then I can take my tools that I have and get those tires ready for what's about to happen. But track rebuilds, that's the other part of this. You got to know where you are in a rebuild. So are you on a fresh track that's going to require you to, right after rebuild, you're 1 through 6 on a fresh build, so you need fresh tires? Or are you right before the track rebuild where it's going to be gripped up and you need to run lower tread tires? Mm-hmm. So you need to have a game plan. If that's not your game plan and you want to run 2 to 3 sets because you can't afford it, I respect it. I ain't mad about it. But you got to have that game plan. So you need to know where you are in track rebuilds, and you need to plan that into your tire game and how you're going to prep your car. So probably not going to set the world on fire on a track rebuild and set a TQ pace. Just not going to happen. The track's slower. You get lucky enough to be on before a track rebuild or 3 to 4 before it, you probably got a good shot because your track's going to be decent. It'll be dusty, but decent. DoorDash or bring your lunch, plan food and drinks. They do have some vendors there. They're not open all the time. They close randomly. But it's your standard track food or vendor fairground style food, hot dog, hamburger, whatever, I recommend DoorDash and then going out when everything's done. Vitamin C daily. If you don't take vitamin C, I've already started my regimen, but do it. And the reason why I say I do it is we're in a horse arena and all we're doing is kicking up horse crap dirt 24/7. So, and I will say this is directly from Murphy. I know what sink has the best, what has the sink has the best water pressure. So when I wash my hands, I know. So it's gross, man. You see guys go use the restroom and they're walking right out. And I'm like, man, that's disgusting. I'm not going to touch that guy's hand ever.
Right.
But we're kicking around horse crap in this arena. So take vitamin C. You're going to need it and you'll feel better. If you leave early, you're on time, things change. So Scotty's going to tell you, doors open at 7. I'm probably going to be there at 6 o'clock. That's just me. Things can change. He may post a time the night before and says, hey, we're going to change our time. We're going to start earlier and we're going to do this. But plan for things to change. Things can happen. They can run ahead of schedule. You can get some practice in. So if there's practice available afterwards, I'm probably doing it. That's why I'm there. Does that mean I don't get to eat dinner and I'm going to eat some Sonic on the way home? Maybe. Does that mean I don't get Roadhouse for a night? I'm sure I'll be okay. I'm ultimately there to race. I'll eat eventually. Drive those how you want to be driven. I've seen the best do the worst driving through people, and it only gets worse. So those are just some of my notes of just like a couple to-dos, But yeah, the number one thing I think is just have fun.
Mhm.
Ultimately, you guys are spending a ton of money to go and race. It costs a ton of money. It's going to be expensive. But everybody wants to do well. Everybody wants to race. They want to have a good experience. They want to have a reason to come back. I wasn't going to do Chili Bowl this year. You know, it wasn't until Cuz was like, hey, man, you should do Chili Bowl with me. And I wasn't going to do it because SC Mod wasn't going to be there, you know, and that's just me having that in my heart for that program. I love that class so much. But I was like, you know what, I will. You know, I'll race SC Mod and Motorama. It'll be just fine, you know, so. But that's it. I'm there to go represent the brands I race. I'm there to go have fun. It's a week-long vacation where I get to play with toy cars. I mean, that's the coolest part in the world, man. Like, I get to race in another state and get paid to do it from my work. So why not?
Well, I think everything that you shared, I mean, I'm sure people right now will agree, is amazing. I know that we're going to get feedback from people after Chili Bowl saying all the different things that you brought up, TJ, made the difference. And I did have a better time and I actually performed better. So I'm sure they're going to be thankful for that. Just can't thank you enough for taking the time to do that. I know you've been planning this a long time because you have a passion for it, obviously, but you know, you had said to me, I just want to make the Chili Bowl experience the best it can be for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, I want people to race better with me. Well, if I'm racing with them, I want to know they're racing better.
Oh yeah. I mean, nobody wants to go out there with somebody who's doing donuts like that. I got to drive around that, you know, if I can get a guy that's going to race comparable lap times and have a vehicle or a car that's drivable, ultimately my experience on the track is going to be better because I can at least work around that. You know, it's hard to drive as fast as those cars are driving and then think I need to stop now to avoid hitting that guy.
Right.
You know, and they're not cheap to fix, you know, and sometimes people are on a limited budget, you know, they're balling on a budget, you know, may not have the money to fix the car or to, you know, fix whatever's broken. And I would hate that for somebody, you know, their week-long vacation driving RC cars is broke because of, you know, they didn't know what to do, you know,
Right.
But it's going to be a great time. I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited. I got to get away from supply chain logistics for a week and enjoy some toy cars, and
Sure.
We'll see what happens. You know, I'm excited to meet everybody. I think that's the other part too. Is, you know, you get to see all the keyboard warriors. I'm going to call them. You know, but
right.
yeah, but you get to see them. You get to meet them and hang out with them. We'll see what famous dudes show up. You know, last year Asian from Street Outlaws stopped by the pit. That was cool. You know, super humble dude. I hope he hears this. Doubtful, but I hope he hears it, shows up and sees what it's all about, because it's an absolute blast to see, you know, Larson and those guys come over and drive all these cars and just have a blast. T-Mez came over and drove last year. It was cool. You know, now he's got a midget, you know, he wants to maybe come over and run. Who knows? You know, Ryan Stiles is going to be out there. Ryan Harris, he's going to be out there, you know. YouTube sensation, Witch driver now, Team Exalt. So he'll be out there. So there's going to be a lot of fun stuff going on. It'll be a week full of events. And then, not to mention, last but least, we are giving away the Rising Star program at Chili Bowl.
Let's talk about that for a second. Tell us what's going on with that. It's come together so quickly. It's amazing the people that you've gotten behind in this program. So tell the folks a little bit more about it.
So what we're going to do is we had Rising Star on a few weeks ago, and this program gives basically a young, inspiring racer, an up-and-coming racer that may not have the ability or a current program that is top tier, so to speak, but shows exemplary qualities that give us a reason to support them. So what I've done is I've got with Ryan and basically said, hey, let's make this happen in the dirt oval world. Obviously, you guys are doing a great job internationally in Canada. You guys brought it to the United States. I think there's one in Australia, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, they're working through that one. Yep.
And then maybe UK, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong.
Yep, that one's on the horizon as well.
So they're all over the place, and the one place they're not yet is Dirt Oval, and we're changing that in 2025. So we will be giving away at Chili Bowl to a Chili Bowl driver a 2024 GFRP Assailant. It'll be basically turnkey. Body's not good. We're not gonna have the wrap done because we're gonna let them do the wrap through Carpies.
Mm-hmm.
They'll have their choice of whatever they want to get on their wrap through Carpies, so they can get that done. Product support GFRP. It's going to have all Exalt electronics in it, so they're going to get the product support for the year from them. We're going to put a 7.0 Phoenix mod motor in it. We're going to put the low profile servo in it. They're going to get two 5200 shorty batteries. Witz is thrown in titanium turnbuckles, ceramic bearings. Sort of Fast is thrown in some wheel nuts, some ceramic ball diff balls. So when that diff gets built, I'm going to put those in there, so it'll be completely upgraded. Cheaters Inc. is throwing in some carbon kydex stuff, so we're doing some prototype bumper testing. So they're going to get a prototype that we've been testing and we're going to be using. So they'll have the new bumper that we're going to be running, some carbon braces as well for the vehicle. Just what else? Zombie. They're Zombie International USA, technically. They're going to supply the ESC. Nice. Donathan RC is supplying all the charger, power supply, charging leads, some pit accessories. Sticky Kicks is thrown in a full toolkit, tire sauce, tire prep. I mean, they are going to have a full-on, what else is there? MR33, I believe, is throwing in a pit mat as well. So thank you, Ryan, for that. But I mean, it's going to be a full turnkey program.
Well, TJ, this is such a great idea that we didn't want to be left out of it. So we are donating a Sanwa Airtronics M2R FH5 radio and receiver. So just proud to be a part of it. And this is going to be super cool.
It's just going to be awesome. I can't wait. Ryan got a hold of Scotty. I think the ultimate goal is going to do it. They always do raffles. Usually, I believe it's like the last day, if not, or the day before mains. I don't really remember. But they do a big giveaway, and they give away everything. And so we're going to try and do it then.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll be able to hand this entire program over, get to recognize them, get to talk to them, and then all the sponsors that are involved. We get to represent all those brands that are helping out. And then I'm going to ask the brands that are there to help kind of nominate this person. So we're looking for that non-sponsored driver that ultimately will get it pretty much product support for a year. And then they have the choice whether to continue or discontinue, however they want to do that program. But everybody's on board. I'm just extremely thankful for all the support from Exalt, GFRP, Witz, Cheaters Inc., Sort of Fast, Zombie, MR33. It's been absolutely amazing how quick they've been willing to just throw everything in. So I'm excited to give away. I can't wait to see the look on somebody's face when they get this turnkey program. You know, Donathan, don't forget, Donathan threw in the charger and everything. I mean, it's power supply, charger, leads, lipo bags. I mean, it's the works. So
there's no way there's no way to even probably put a value on this, but what do you think this package, if you went in a hobby shop to buy this?
We're easily over $3,000. We're easily over $3,000.
Yeah, this is no joke. Somebody's going to win this package. That is crazy.
Yeah. So
that's super cool.
We're easy. I would say minimum of $3,000. So, and then on top of it, you know, it'll be turnkey. So, I mean, very little for them to do. They can set up their pit, rock and roll, you know, I mean, ultimately they're not going to have a wrapped body or anything, but they're going to get that body included so they can choose what they want to do, to represent their brand, their style. Right. And then
the only thing people are going to wish is that they could get it day one, right? So that they could try to race it.
So they could race it. You know,
they're going to have to get this and go, man, but they can say, boy, when I come back next year to Chili Bowl, am I going to have something?
Oh yeah, absolutely. You got a top of the line car, man. You got the 24 Assault. You can't beat it.
Right. Well, like you said, you never want to bring a brand new car to Chili Bowl, but you sure love to get a brand new car at Chili Bowl, and that's what's going to happen with the Rising Star program.
What did I say? Assault? I meant to say Assailant. Yeah, it's an Assailant. It's a late model. Man.
It's all right.
Lack of sleep.
It's all right.
So I'm excited. I can't wait for the program, man. It's going to be great. There's still stuff coming in the mail to this day for the program. So there's products that are still arriving that I'm putting together still for this program. So it'll be down to the wire. So I'm just thankful those guys have been super supportive to get whatever they could out as quick as possible.
Yeah. Well, in typical TJ fashion, you're showing again your passion for this hobby. You're trying to help people set up so they can come to the race with their equipment and be prepared. You jumped into the deep end of the pool on this deal after we did that show with Rising Star. You put all this together. I know you're not going to take accolades for it, but you made the calls. You were the magnet that brought the metal, brought the steel all together. And we just applaud that effort and just humbled and thankful to all of these RC companies that stepped up together. That's what's so cool too, right? I mean, you got all these companies that maybe they work together sometimes, but they're all out there, trying to get people to work at their companies. And they said, that's not what matters with this deal. What matters with this deal is we do what's right for the hobby, and we find somebody who is deserving of this. And like you said, boy, girl, doesn't matter. Just great racers are going to be, under one roof, and one of them is going to win this amazing prize. Just cannot wait to see the video and the discussion. And then you'll see all that right here at RC Underground Radio afterwards. TJ will pull them aside and do our own little private thing. And also we'll see it live, hopefully, when it happens. So it's going to be great, buddy. And just thanks for putting this together.
Yeah, I'm excited, man. I can't wait. I think it's always been my pleasure to be able to try and do whatever I could within the hobby, within my means. I always like to tell my friends, when I win, you win. You know what I mean? Like when I lose, you lose. We lose together. But I just like being able to share and prosper. Hard work pays off for everybody. So I just want to instill whatever I can into the hobby the best I can, have a positive impact and outlook.
Well, you do it, buddy. You do it. And we're proud that you represent us as well in this venture. So thank you for that. So you're talking about, we're talking about boys, girls, and racers at RC. Well, we've got a female racer that's going to be on the show next week. We have Jennifer Lathrop coming. And this girl can put it down. She's had a long family history of being great racers. There's been some challenges this year within the family. Probably talk about that some. But yeah, we are just super excited to have her on the show, and she seems equally excited to come on. So don't miss next week.
She's one of the women of Chili Bowl. I'd say the baddie with an addy. She's killer, man. She's killer in a car. She's fast. She knows what she's doing, and they always look good. Last year was white and pink. That was her deal, white and pink. So
and she represents the brand, man. I mean, she's great on social media. That's what I saw, and I said those are the kind of people we like. This people that are full circle, just like I always say, the deep end of the pool. Jennifer's in the deep end of the pool. She's coming to Chili Bowl. She ain't just coming to go around circles. She's no joke. She's coming to win. So it's going to be interesting to see her perspective on it and her different experiences with Chili Bowl as we just build up for Chili Bowl. This whole month is dedicated to RC Chili Bowl, as it should be. It is the biggest race in the country. And you know what I love about it? It's not for money. It's for pride and prestige and winning the flag, winning the trophy. That's what it's about,
man. Just you're going for the yearly bragging rights. That's all you got. What manufacturer is going to come out on top? Which one's going to have the best this? Who's going to have the upper hand? Who's going to get caught cheating? Who's not going to do the cheating? Who's going to pass in tech and who's not going to? And what envelopes can we push? It's a great time. Those boys doing tech, they're on point.
Yeah. And for all that you just mentioned, it doesn't take dollar signs to make it exciting.
No,
that's what I love.
No, there's no money. There's no money involved except for who puts it on. They get that, but at the end of the day, it's expensive to do it. So I don't think we realize the overall expenditures to put this on. But I'm thankful I get to do it every year. So
you get it. Now, Scotty and the gang, nothing, nobody like that crew, and nothing like Scotty. So
if I had one thing to say about Scotty, real quick, if you haven't been to Chili Bowl and you're going, we're talking practice. If you don't know about we're talking practice, we're talking practice. We're talking practice all day long. We're talking practice. So
that's the only thing. That should be a drinking game, but
should be. So be timely.
Do that, Chili.
Marshall, get off the stand. Marshall, be quick. You want to practice? Be quick, because it's on us. Ultimately, the entire show will be on us as racers. So if you want to get your car better and you want to be better on the track and you want more track time, get off the stand. Put your car down. Marshall, let's go.
Man, you got me charged up, and I don't even race dirt, but no, super excited for this. Next couple of weeks on the show are going to be great. We got great guests. TJ's going to keep us informed, and then you're going to fly off, and you're going to go do this, and hopefully we'll get some reports from the track as time permits, and we'll keep posting that stuff up and then do a show around that. Then you come back from Chili Bowl. That's when it gets really interesting, because not just the racing, but the behind the scenes and behind the scenes stories are like what everybody really wants to hear, right?
Oh yeah, we're going to do a leftover Chili Bowl leftover.
There we go. That's nice. So everybody, again, thanks for joining us this week. TJ, great stuff. Just great stuff. And these next few weeks are going to be super exciting. We're glad you're on board with us. Tell your friends, tell anybody that's going to Chili Bowl. Jump on, listen to this, and not for ratings and not for social media and all that baloney. Listen to it so that you go to Chili Bowl and are prepared the best you can be prepared. Mm-hmm. So, again, thank you again, everybody. We'll see you again next week.
Thank you for listening to the RC Underground Radio Podcast. Be sure to like, subscribe, and tell your fellow racers about the show. Tune in again next week for more RC content.